Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me on another edition of CBT Now. Fall is here, which means the model year-end changeover is upon us, and dealers will be looking to move current inventory off their lots to make room for next year's model. In addition to the Fed's just announced big rate cut, dealers will continue to rely on aggressive incentives to get rid of those vehicles. Here to talk to us about that is Derek Hansen, VP of Operations for Inventory Management Solutions at Cox Automotive. Thank you, Derek, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on the show.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity to join you and excited for our conversation today.
Sure. These are very busy times for dealers. As you know, this last quarter, it's all about trying, and OEMs, trying to get as many cars over the curb as possible for a number of reasons. But, as those 2024s they need to go bye-bye. We need to make room for the 2025s. But nevertheless, talk to us about that. Typically, when people think of vAuto, used car inventory management is what first comes to mind. But this latest enhancement that you guys have is for vAuto's Conquest, which is for new cars. Tell us more about Conquest.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. Again, appreciate being here. As you mentioned, vAuto really came to market as a used car tool. We help dealers get the best returns on their used car inventory.
Sure.
But along the way, we saw opportunity with new car, and we launched a tool called Conquest, which allows dealers to use those live market insights from vAuto and apply them to their new car strategies to get the best return and to gain market share as they focus on new vehicle sales. And we all know how critical new vehicles are to the profitability of the dealership. They drive trade-ins, they drive your fixed operations, and Conquest, given how important new cars are to the operation, and given what you highlighted, there's so many macro factors impacting new car. This tool really takes all of the live market data, all of the incentives and rebates information, it puts it in one place for the dealer, allows them to apply it to their inventory to see how their inventory is priced relative to the market, and then to connect that out to their website, to Auto Trader, to anywhere where their vehicles are merchandised and listed. So it really simplifies the new car process, brings the insights from the market to allow dealers to get more throughput, turn more cars, and drive better profitability across the dealership.
Yeah, that's a huge help for dealers, for desk managers specifically, as they try to figure out incentives, which usually took three mathematicians from MIT, right, to figure out whether it be, a loyalty program or a military rebate or first-time buyer or whatever the case might be. And, typically you got it wrong, as a desk manager, unless you've got some kind of tool like this to help you, right? But
that's right.
Yeah,
it really is a critical tool in the tool belt for the OEMs, right? As they're trying to keep more metal moving through the factories and gain market share, get cars out. Incentives create a tremendous opportunity for them to apply specific dollars to those vehicles that they want to keep moving and to specific customer segments. And as you mentioned, that's become more and more complex. And so this tool is critical to really help dealers efficiently compete in the marketplace and make sure they're putting their best foot forward in front of consumers as they put those cars out to the market.
Sure. Affordability has been a big problem for consumers and OEMs lately, but however, the Fed's big rate cut isn't expected to have that big of an impact on loan rates just yet. Why is that?
Yeah, Jim, obviously a huge signal to the market, and great to see the Fed taking some action to lower the rates. But as you highlighted, that's not going to come to relieve consumers anytime soon.
Yeah.
And the reason being, lenders are taking a lot of risk. They're watching the macro factors. They're seeing the challenges consumers are having meeting the bills. And so they're going to appropriately manage that risk, and that rate will flow through into the lending market over the next few weeks and months. I think where consumers will see that change first and more immediately is on the credit card side of the equation, which will help. It will help affordability. It will help consumers have some more dollars in the wallet to meet those obligations. But from where we see it, this is a major impact on the new car side of the equation. New vehicle performance isn't living up to expectations, and a primary driver is affordability.
Yeah.
You think about where new cars have come over the last few years. The average price now is greater than $47,000, right? Our new car lending rate for September on average was over 9.5%. that creates a payment that's in the mid $700 range. And that is a challenge. That is a bridge too far for a lot of consumers today, which means we're starting to see days supply continue to creep up,
Yeah.
and we're seeing metal back up. And that's a challenge. And that's where dealers are now in a position where they need help to move that inventory, and OEMs are starting to deploy those rebates and incentives more aggressively to keep that inventory moving.
Yeah, yeah. The good news is that incentives are on the rise, and
That's
those
right.
do help get costs down for consumers. But there's been a lot of complexity with incentives lately. What's driving that complexity, and how big of a pain point is that for dealers to deal with?
Yeah, Jim, I mean, it's a great call out. I mean, incentives are on the rise. They're up 50% from where they were a year ago, right? So now that dealers, or excuse me, the OEMs are seeing the metals start to slow down,
Yeah,
and consumers are being a little more cautious, they're starting to deploy that more tactically. This is a critical tool for them.
yeah,
But as you highlight, they're deploying it in a much more strategic way, right? More of a scalpel than a blunt instrument, in that they're being specific to VINs in how they think about it. Traditionally, it was a make model approach, right?
yeah,
And apply it across a make model.
yep,
But you highlighted there's a lot of nuance now in how OEMs are. Is there a specific lease opportunity here? Is it
sure,
specific to this set of vehicles that are four-wheel drive that I want to clear off the lot, right?
right,
So as the OEMs are getting more complex, it becomes all that more critical for dealers to make sure they have a handle on all of the potential rebates that will apply to any given VIN. They want to make sure that VIN is as competitively priced and marketed, merchandised in the market, so that they can get those consumers in the showroom and keep that inventory moving. So
yeah.
the complexity now is greater than ever, as dealers have, or as OEMs have more tools at their disposal in how they deploy those dollars across the inventory they want to sell.
Sure, and of course, I guess you guys are tied in with the OEMs to get this data, as fresh as it can be, so that those managers can make those put those deals together based on accurate information. I mean, that's what the enhancement is, right?
That's exactly right. I
Yeah.
mean, we go through a tremendous amount of effort to make sure we have every available incentive and opportunity and rebate that comes through from the OEMs. We distill that into our Conquest product and give then dealers the opportunity to very seamlessly apply those by VIN and automatically deploy them out to wherever that vehicle is merchandised.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier for the dealer to manage all of these complex packages that exist, and make sure that they have a very clean presentation to the consumer that puts, again, the most competitive price, the most competitive offer for that vehicle in the marketplace. And our dealers have, feedback has been a resounding positive one. We've seen this tool grow tremendously as this incentive wave comes back into the market, as OEMs see the need
Sure.
here. And so we want to make sure, as we continue to focus on this VIN level ability, that we have that in the hands of the dealers to continue to drive new car sales.
That's right. There's nothing worse than getting a chargeback from a manufacturer, and then saying, you figured $1,000 coming back on a specific incentive, and that expired, or this particular vehicle is not eligible for that $1,000, and you had a break-even deal to begin with, and now you're losing $1,000, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
happens
right.
all the time, right?
It does happen all the time. And then on the flip side of that equation, right, if they have that Camry or RAV4, that they're not applying the appropriate, APR incentive or the appropriate lessee loyalty incentive. And so then you appear less competitive in the market,
That's right.
as a consumer, and I'm auto trader looking for that new
Good point.
Tacoma, and
Good point.
yours is $2,000 higher than anyone else in the market. Well, I don't know that I'll be visiting you today. And this allows dealers to make sure that they do get everything applied, that they have as competitive, as well merchandised product portfolio in the market, and that they're bringing, all the consumers through the door with the incentives and rebates that the OEMs are putting on their inventory.
That's right. That's right. So important, because you're right. People shop, with this now, and they'll go from store to store and say, well, this guy, quoted me $642 a month, and you're $738 a month, and why is there a difference? I'm going to go to the other person, in reality, the other one is better equipped on the incentives, or better informed, I should say, on the proper incentives. And you could both be sitting with the same deal, but yet one's got a total advantage in the marketplace. And it can't be up to the customer to tell the dealership that, hey, you need to check into this, because I'm on the exact same car. Maybe there's no trade in on the deal, and it's a cash deal. So everything should be the same. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a cash deal if there's a payment involved, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And consumers, to your point, are getting more and more down the funnel in that digital experience, right? And so more critical than ever that you have all the information there in front of them, because they're getting a lot of the way further down that decision before they even talk to you, right?
That's right.
And another key data point is in September, or excuse me, yes, closing September now, as we enter October, the incentives amounted to 7.2% of the total transaction on the average new car transaction last month. And so this is a major needle mover for consumers, right? Again, affordability, it's going to take a while for those Fed rates to get through. All the more important over the coming months that dealers are on top of their incentive game, and we're there with the tools to make it as easy and as seamless as possible.
Yeah, no question about it. Derek Hansen, Vice President of Operations for Inventory Management Solutions at Cox Automotive. Thank you so much for coming by. This is congrats on the new enhancement to the product. You guys at Cox Automotive are always coming up with phenomenal solutions for dealers, so keep up the great work, and hopefully we can have you back to do a follow-up, see how things are working out.
Jim, thanks again for the time. It was a pleasure and an honor to be with you today.
Great, thank you.